This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
You're listening to 9 to Noon.
Wow, what's that fun? Holy Toledo! Wild. I knew we was gonna beat them clowns.
You're breaking up, Bob.
You're breaking up.
Whoa, where'd you find that one? Damn. Wah, wah, pedal, 9 to noon. Ooh.
9 to noon.
That's us. I'm Paul Allen. He is I. Slim with the tilted brim. Maxwell Fuller, young Maxwell, filling in for Nordo today. And we welcome you to the Friday Football Feast. It's the Friday Football... What is it now?
Feast!
It's the Feast. He's JJ! It has some forechecking and a front court feast to it today, including the front court being the world of basketball, and that will be the bookender for 9 to noon because the NCAA tournament very much is underway, and we will begin there momentarily. And then the Timberwolves, the Howlin' with the Homie squad, the Hootie Who. I mean, the Hootie Who is a Hootie WHO right now, as in who? How, what? How? I mean, off those last two losses. And Kevin Lynch, a dear friend of mine and analyst for FanDuel. He's a basketball analyst. He will be in the 651 Carpets Plus studios at about 11 o'clock. The forechecking feast part of the equation will take place. That'll take place about 30 minutes from now with Russo Radio also joining us in the 651 Carpets Plus studios. And this little marathon segment right here, Max's Marathon, is provided by Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. If you want the best prices guaranteed on your appliances, then start at stevesappliances.com and say, PA said you're going to give me the best prices, and put a little pressure on them. Watch them come through. Good morning, Max.
Bonjour, Pierre.
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Paul. Nous regardons la télévision. Pourquoi? You started it.
Oui, oui.
Finish it.
Je m'appelle Max.
I mean, Michel, Anne, vous travaillez.
Hey.
I have a question for you to begin.
I might have an answer for you.
How often do you wash that luscious head of hair?
About twice a week. You know
Twice
what I'm
a
saying?
week.
It's not like a chia pet bit. You know,
No.
I don't have to water it every single day, but it does have to get a little sunshine for it to grow. But yeah, I wash it, I would say, like once or twice a week usually.
Have you, and there's a point for the question. So have you researched that? And here's the reason why. All right. You know, at 59 years of age, I've, you know, unless, I mean, there have been some destitute days, all right, in the world of the announcer, several decades ago. So I'm sure that I've gone days where I didn't wash my hair.
Yeah.
But I was just in Colorado with my daughter, who graduates from the University of Colorado in a month and a half.
Well, congratulations to Coley.
So getting the girl squared away, spending time with her, and so on. She mentioned that she hadn't washed her hair in 4 days. And I'm like, ew. But then she said, alas, Dad, listen. And she explained to me the importance of not washing your hair every single day. And so that doesn't mean no shower and no soap or no body wash. That doesn't mean, it's a crafty mid-morning stink-a-thon 2 or 3 times a week because there's no shower. But she, and I can't remember what she said, but she sold me on the importance of scalp oils with hair and natural and stuff like that. I haven't washed my hair in 4 days. I mean, it's the first time in my life.
Changed your life.
So now I'm putting a Veda forming cream in it because I got to put something in it, or it's the Einstein covenant and it's just going all over the place. So I'll put a Veda forming cream in it each and every morning, but I haven't washed it in 4 days. So with you washing your hair twice a week, like you said, do you have intel that actually, does it help hair growth? Does it help scalp vitality? Shoot that 64686 for the text machine if anybody's interested on that, because I'm being serious here. I feel weird not washing or conditioning my hair for what's coming up on what's more than half a week, and I don't know when to go back and do it. Because I want the scalp vitality to be what she said it would be, even though I can't remember what she said it would be. And good morning.
And good morning. Actually, I did read, I used to wash my hair more frequently, much like you did, but I read something along the lines of what Coley was preaching, proselytizing, and she's exactly right. The more you wash your hair, the more my hair starts to get like a tumbleweed complexion. It starts to feel really dry. Right. It starts to feel really gross, nappy. But I do feel like I have to wash it at least once a week. Otherwise, it's the buckwheat covenant. It's the Marge Simpson covenant.
Let's hold up on the buckwheat covenant 9 to noon, okay? I don't care who says it, but let's just hold up on the buckwheat covenant into these microphones in 3-2. Seriously. Come on, man.
I look like an extra from Django Unchained if I don't wash this hair at least once a week. So, I used to wash it a lot more often, but I do use product. I put the little pink lotion in, a little soul glow in it, if you will, because otherwise, it doesn't just look like this once you roll out of bed. This takes work. This takes care. I'm a master gardener.
But I'm wondering if it is not a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like it's self-fulfilling and follicle related, where if you're not to wash your hair for X amount consecutive days for scalp vitality, wouldn't the forming cream, the Soul Glow, the whatever you put in your hair, what I put in mine, wouldn't it offset the scalp vitality? Wouldn't it suppress it?
No, I don't think so, because your hair.
And by the way, we're the only two in this stable that can have this conversation.
100% half the people here are bald.
Well, yeah, but we're the only two that don't wear baseball caps.
That's true.
I'm not. I have no interest in wearing a baseball cap.
I can't wear a baseball cap. I would look silly.
We have Max and I have a lot to hide. Our hairline is not one of them.
I always love that.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So I need intel on this.
But you have your hair produces, your scalp, from my understanding, your scalp produces some like natural oil secretions and grease that when you wash your hair constantly, it kind of gets rid of that. So it's almost like it's kind of like burning it down. So it doesn't feel, it's not going to help growth. So when you put the stuff in it, it's almost like, it's in addition to the natural secretions and grease that your head is already producing.
You can take my hair right now, which is on the longer side, and you can squeeze out everything that's good, all the oil that's going to come out of it.
It's going to look like a New York pizza.
Well, it would be like a New York dripping pizza, or it would suffice as an oil change.
I always love
So I just don't feel like I'm doing the right thing, but I've been told I'm doing the right thing, and I don't exactly know why. All right, I appreciate your help on that. Do you watch much college basketball?
Not a lot during the regular season, not going to lie. I used to be a little bit more into it during like the Derrick Rose, Steph Curry kind of days, but since then there's just a million bajillion things to watch, but I do lock in during March Madness.
So do I. And it's more of a time situation for me.
Right.
It's the game interests me, but if it's like Purdue and Michigan State on a Wednesday evening at 7:00, that's not going to be appointment viewing for me. I'm more of an NBA guy. I believe you're more of an NBA guy,
yes.
But I'm like you. I mean, I just get so smitten and so bit by the NCAA tournament and like Arkansas with Calipari against Self and Kansas yesterday, McNeese State. I mean, seriously,
right.
And I couldn't care less about the brackets. I mean, if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. And most generally don't win. But the brackets are fun. They're fun to fill out, specifically for those of us who don't watch it frequently, and that would be you and I. But then, like, for the first time in my life, I see McNeese State busting up and down the court and beating somebody to move on to play Purdue. You watch a little of Purdue, and I'm like, all right, unless Parker Fox played against Purdue this year, I probably haven't watched Purdue play since Rondale Moore was running routes out of the slot for the football team.
Right.
But then you watch Purdue. Oh, Zach Edey. I watched some Zach Edey for sure. But then I'm like, yeah, this squad ain't that great. I mean, how's this team like a 4 or whatever it is? So now you get intrigued by that. Like I watched Creighton yesterday. I listened to it on the drive home, and then I'm like, damn, listen to Creighton. And then I watched some of it starting here when I got home. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Creighton, a 9. What a wonderful, wonderful basketball team with a stretch big. My man might be 7 feet and he hits threes. I don't know his name. I mean, he's Randy Brewer skinny, but I'm like, Creighton Blue Jays. I haven't followed the Creighton Blue Jays since Benoit Benjamin played there.
I always loved that one.
Before he went to the Clippers. So there are just things that pop out of it, like Drake. I mean, Drake has a badass basketball team. Who knew? I'm sure everybody knew. I didn't know. Then you get to the big dogs like Auburn advancing. Wisconsin, I watched them a couple of times, including Parker's final home game against Wisconsin. It was tightly contested most of the way. They move on. BYU and VCU. I mean, that was a dogfight meat grinder yesterday. Then BYU pulled away. BYU is quality stock. Gonzaga, Mark Few. Okay, they never win it, but Gonzaga sneaks into this thing as an 8, and they throttle somebody, and then now they're going to take on Houston, the 1. And then you get to like UCLA and Tennessee. All right, so UCLA gets out of the first round. Tennessee, one of those 8 million SEC schools that get in. Now, this should be it for UCLA, which leads us to this. I just wonder how the portal and NIL impacts these teams. Young Parker, he'll be in studio 9 to noon, Mondays and potentially Thursdays during the basketball season. So maybe a double dose of PFOX. Better question for him, I understand. But there was a guy playing for a team yesterday. Can't remember the guy or the team. But the Vox was like, the guy plays, 35 minutes a game. He's good. He's a guard, thick guard. And he's like, he was in the Final Four 2 or 3 years ago with Florida Atlantic. And I'm like, damn, Florida Atlantic made the Final Four?
Yeah, that was a weird year.
Well, first and foremost, the Florida Atlantic. Hey. But think about that. Okay, well, where was he in between? He was at a different school. So he was like at Florida Atlantic, then he went to a different school. Now he ends up at this school. It's his final year. And it's a good squad. So I just wonder how much the portal and NIL is impacting this whole thing that we're watching. Because, when I use the term blue bloods, okay, so that's the equity covenant. I mean, those your age, my age, or everything in between. When you get to the NCAA tournament, you generally expect to hear, for those who don't follow, and that's most of the people listening now, may follow more than us in cursory fashion. But when I say follow it, man, I mean like follow it like the NFL or the NBA or the state of hockey or something like that. But when the NCAA tournament rolls around, When we hear North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA, UConn, and Syracuse, all right? Those are age-old blue blood college basketball programs.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah, 100%.
So UConn's won the last 2 titles, right? Looking for a three-peat up in here.
I believe so.
Yeah. So UConn. Now, when you think, all the way back to Khalid Amin, UConn basketball, women and men. Well, that's basketball immortality. I mean, that's of the blue blood variety. UConn's in it again this year. UConn looking to win 3 in a row. I don't believe UConn's going to win 3 in a row, but nevertheless, there's some blue blood to the Connecticut Huskies. Age-old expectations, age-old respect, and schools that actually take down the crown. So that would lead to the blue blood covenant. Now, so the box is checked for them, having won the last 2 NCAA titles. That's a blue blood that's in the black. Well, what about the others? Kansas last won the NCAA tournament in 2022. Now, that's not that long ago.
No.
But it's it's all the way back to Danny Manning, Joel Embiid. You referenced Derrick Rose with Memphis. I think Mario Chalmers hit that top of the key 3. Walk off, though. Derrick Rose was on that Memphis team, right?
100%, yeah.
Okay, so this is blue blood college basketball immortality. But Kansas has been the preseason number 1 seed 2 years in a row, and like 3 of the last 5 or something. And every time they're the preseason number 1, they flop. So like they were a 7 into the tournament this year, already done, bounced by Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Kentucky. When you think Kentucky basketball, all you got to do is look at the NBA. I mean, there are players in the NBA we know went to Kentucky. Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
The last time Kentucky won a championship was like 2012, something like that, 2012 or 2013. All right, Anthony Davis. We know that. He's not in the league anymore, but the name Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Yeah, we remember him, right?
He was the man when he was at Kentucky as well.
Devin Booker played for Kentucky.
John Wall,
Eric Bledsoe. Okay, so we got big names here.
Shea, too, right? The incoming...
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander played at Kentucky?
Didn't he?
Damn. I just don't follow it closely enough. But, I just learned within the last year, Bam Adebayo played at Kentucky. So they're all over the place. But that doesn't mean that despite having that star quality, Kentucky, absolutely a blue blood basketball program. I mean, they last won the championship in 2012. So we're coming up on a decade and a half now with this blue blood status card being called in question at this moment because things are new. And I just wonder how long you have to go. Like UCLA, when it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, John Wooden, and all those guys and everything, I mean, they won like 5, 6, 7 in a row.
Yeah, I think it was 7.
Yeah, so the Wizard of Westwood. Well, UCLA last won a college basketball championship in 1995. Oof. UCLA no longer gets that respect or credit. I think they got close with Russ, with Westbrook, and like Darren Collison. They got close. Might have gone to the championship game. But I mean, when I'm looking at these brackets and looking at these teams and everything, I just sense potentially because of the portal and NIL of late, there's a shift in the blue blood status with college basketball, where UConn has been part of it for quite some time, but really has ascended to the top of this conversation. Where if you bring up this conversation to casuals like you and I, if you're just chilling down the street with, my name's Lolita, that's my friend Tangeray.
I always love that one.
All right, 3-2. It's North Carolina last won the NCAA tournament in 2017, so we're within 10 years. Now, this is the baby blue of Michael Jordan immortality. But we're starting to stack some years here without an expected quality high-level team really doing anything, specifically winning the NCAA tournament. Blue blood status is about to get called into question a little bit. Duke last won the NCAA tournament in 2015. So people look at brackets and they elevate Duke, and Duke was a 1 this year. And in the brackets I played, I got Duke. I don't have them winning it, but I got them in some Final Fours and stuff. Cooper Flag, though. Okay, bad ankle. Yep, we follow all that. But Duke last won hasn't won an NCAA tournament in a decade. So looking at the bracket and being like Duke, right to here, Final Four, that doesn't have to be done anymore because they don't win the NCAA tournament anymore. UCLA last won in 95. Syracuse. I mean, when you think Syracuse basketball, Boeheim, Derek Coleman, Pearl Washington, Johnny Flynn, though.
Carmelo Anthony, bro.
Carmelo Anthony. They haven't won an NCAA tournament since 2003.
Damn.
So we're coming up on a quarter century here with this thing. That blue blood status, just check the box status with these names when you fill out your brackets. With Syracuse, UCLA, Duke to a certain extent, North Carolina, Kentucky, and even Kansas, it's just not a blind check. They may win 1 or 2, and we're happy for them. But like if Kentucky were to lose to Troy today, it wouldn't surprise me. The preacher, one of my best friends, his favorite basketball team, the Kentucky Wildcats. 2 years ago, I watched Kentucky lose to St. Peter as a massive favorite.
Yeah.
So that, your blue blood status card, now tradition matters, and UCLA and Wizard of Westwood in the 60s and stuff, yeah, that matters. Tradition's cool. But if you're into the here and now, these schools, man, Syracuse isn't even in the tournament. But you can't look at these schools and just blindly check them because of what they have done. And how about this? Tell me what you think about this. Just because James Naismith, are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
He created University of Kansas basketball in like 1898. He started that program. And James Naismith had 2 wonderful ideas when basketball was catching steam. One was he looked up at the peach basket. And he's like, after everybody makes a basket, pulling the ladder out and getting the ball out of the peach basket is probably a stupid thing. Why don't we just cut the bottom out of the peach basket so the ball comes out? It's kind of like whomever invented hockey. How do you come into a game of hockey with a frozen rubber disc hit at about 100 miles per hour and not have the goalie have masks?
Right.
The goalies didn't have masks.
It's insane.
It's the stupidest thing. It's akin to football, the National Football League. Maybe it started in college, but I think it started in the NFL. It's like you got the end zone. So let's put the goalpost right in the middle of the end zone. It used to be in the middle of the end zone. People would use it for picks. They'd run into it. Then somebody's finally like, let's just move it back to the back line and get it out of everybody's way.
And also, let's take these leather helmets off.
Yeah,
get
right.
Something a little bit more sturdy.
Yeah. I mean, the worst news dentists ever received is that goalies get to wear masks.
I always love that one.
I mean, seriously, dentists had to be crushing back in the 30s
like the
and
stock
40s.
Market crashing for them.
30s, 40s, and 50s, man. But James Naismith, all right? Well, he cut the bottom out of the peach basket, which was novel, but he also created basketball's first official rules book. So we got traveling, we got double dribble, we got fouls, and what happens after fouls and things like that. So James Naismith is OG. He's OG basketball guy. He also deemed Indiana the cradle of basketball, okay? And he did so 100 years ago. Now, simply because James Naismith in 100 years ago, like I don't know, 1920 something, deemed Indiana the cradle of basketball, doesn't mean it's still the state of basketball. All right. Hoosier hysteria has run cold. and it's Indiana. It's widely known as the state of basketball. I'm like, why?
Right.
Why is it the state of basketball? Why does tradition have to stand pat all throughout every single decade and every single century. It doesn't.
It doesn't. Like, the Cowboys are not America's team anymore. I mean, that's long since passed. Or baseball being America's pastime. That is also not true anymore. These things are just phrases that we grandfather in and just accept, but they're not even necessarily true anymore.
Yeah. I mean, just because James Naismith 100 years ago said this is the cradle of basketball doesn't mean Indiana is still the state of basketball. And here's why. Indiana last won the NCAA tournament in 1987.
Damn.
So no Indiana team other than the Hoosiers has won the title ever. So is it Bloomington, Indiana is the epicenter, the city in the state of basketball, even though nobody else ever wins NCAA tournaments? Okay, so the Indiana high school basketball tournament, I'm sure, sells out. I'm sure they hate on their version of Edina in the like they're hating on Indianapolis, Anderson, Indiana. They might be lucky to get a school into the final whatever, and they're all going to boo Indianapolis because it's like, we have credit cards. Yes, we do. We have credit cards. How about you? Same with the Edina stuff in the hockey tournament here. The Hoosiers in '87. All right, Keith Smart, Steve Alford, and Dean Garrett. So we're on nearly 4 decades without a college basketball champion from the alleged state of basketball. That tradition might need an upgrade. How can you be the state of basketball when your college teams never house the crown and only one of your college teams has housed the crown, period? And that's all the way back to Bobby Knight and the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, I'm going to cut loose with something a little controversial here, if you don't mind.
Oh my gosh, you are above average at that.
Like, Minnesota is the self-proclaimed state of hockey, all right?
Uh-oh.
With Duluth, now this is over the last 24 years. Duluth has won the Frozen Four 3 times, the Gophers twice. But at least they've taken down the college sport championship representing the state of hockey 5 times in the last 24 years. You got to go back to '87 for the alleged state of basketball to have housed a crown.
Right.
And only one school has done it, which continues to bug me. But now the controversial statement. Is Minnesota truly the state of hockey?
Oh my gosh.
And here's why. The Denver Pioneers have won college hockey's Frozen Four 5 times the last 20 years.
Jeez.
Maybe Colorado is becoming the state of hockey. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. Forget it ever happened. Please continue to listen to FM 100.3 KFAN.
3-2.
Massachusetts schools like BU, Boston College, and UMass, they've won the Frozen Four 6 times in the last 25 years. Now, we've done it 5, okay? State of hockey cred. But we sell out the X and hate on Edina, so that undoubtedly makes Minnesota the state of hockey, I guess.
I always love that one.
Colorado has like 50 high school hockey programs and dispensaries and legalized sports betting. Colorado hockey might be young Maxwell's chill. Back to the college basketball tournament. Mm-hmm. So, cool little pat on the back. And this actually bugged me this morning when I was looking at all this. All right, we got U.S. Bank Stadium. First season, U.S. Bank Stadium 2016. You've been there. Pretty nice stadium, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, very nice stadium. Yeah. Best in the National Football League that I've seen. So, the cool little pat on the back that we received here was in 2019 when we got the NCAA Tournament Final Four. Virginia beat Texas Tech. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When does it come back? What does college basketball have against us? The weather's good here in late March. And here's the point. The Final Four this year is at the Alamo Dome, which means that will be the 5th Final Four at the Alamo Dome in the last quarter century. Lucas Oil, or its former name, the RCA Dome, all right, that place ain't great. And I've been there myriad times. It's not in U.S. Bank Stadium's class. What's up, Russo Radio? It's not in U.S. Bank Stadium's class. The RCA Dome was a dump before it was upgraded and changed to Lucas Oil Stadium. From 2006 to 2029, the alleged state of basketball that never, ever, ever gets to the final game or wins it will have had the Final Four 6 times from 06 to 2029. Our building is newer. It's fresher. We have hotels and skyways. And U.S. Bank Stadium is flat better than the Alamo Dome and Lucas Oil, and I can say that because I've been to both. So why no Final Fours here like ever again? Is that the bit? I mean, they've laid out the destinations for like the next 5 years or so. We ain't on that list. Why no Final Fours at U.S. Bank Stadium? Any idea?
I have no idea, honestly. They're just hating on us, I guess, and it's probably just tradition. Once again, striking when it shouldn't be in place. We gotta knock down these walls, these old traditions, and move on into the stride boldly into the future.
Yeah, the Cowboys are not America's team.
They're not.
Baseball no longer is anybody's pastime. The state of hockey is being called into question and challenged by Colorado, which wins the Frozen Four more frequently than Minnesota schools. But, I'm not sure. Maybe they're hating on Littleton or Golden or Boulder when they're at these high school hockey tournaments. I got no idea. But the Alamo Dome is a dump. U.S. Bank Stadium is not. Yet they're going to get like 6 Final Fours over the course of 24 years. And, I mean, we've had one since 2019, but we ain't on the list for like the next 5 years, man. It's a sad state of affairs, if you ask me. Hey, all of that is courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon includes our Wolves hosting New Orleans this evening. More on that with FanDuel's Kevin Lynch at 11 o'clock. And the Wild host Buffalo tomorrow at 1 on KFAN. And to discuss that and much more, one of our very favorites, Michael Russo. Russo Radio is next on KFAN.
Fan.
Listen up, basketball fans. Head to the Rabbit Hole in Minneapolis, your ultimate tournament headquarters, for an all-day KFAN tournament watch party today with 45-plus big screens. You won't miss a single moment of the action. Come hang with the Power Trips Corey Cole from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and enter for your shot to win awesome prizes, including a TV every 2 hours. Get all the details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Russo Radio. Michael Russo, nice enough to make the trek west to come to the 651 Carpets Plus studios and to join yours truly, Paul Allen, for some cogent hockey conversation over the next couple of segments at Russo Hockey via the tweet machine. If you would like to follow him, as pretty much everybody in the world does, including yours truly, that's at Russo Hockey. Off a conversation I just had with young Maxwell, in your learned estimation, when I say Minnesota is the state of hockey, What personifies that? Like, what defines the state of hockey? And the reason being is just because James Naismith dubbed Indiana the cradle of basketball, Hoosier hysteria, Indiana's the state of basketball. He did that 100 years ago. Indiana no longer is. I mean, they haven't won an NCAA tournament since 1987. And outside of Bobby Knight's Hoosiers, none of the other schools have ever won the NCAA tournament. Winning the NCAA tournament doesn't necessarily mean you are, the state of whatever. There's obviously a lot more that goes into it. But like when I say the state of hockey, like what defines that in your estimation?
Well, I just think the state of hockey is the fact that everybody here or most people here love hockey, play hockey. Starting at the real young youth levels to high school to college to football. It's all encompassing. More USA hockey registered players in the country are from this state. If you're just going to go based on success or National Hockey League success, not even close. Right.
But the majority of
the state of hockey might be the place that I came from, Florida. I mean, all the Panthers and the Lightning do is win.
Well, Faber's from here,
right?
But you don't get a bevy of players for the Wild who are from Minnesota,
right?
But for the Gophers,
until their retirement package at about 35 years old,
and they come from all over.
Yeah.
Like Vanek's not from here, but he lives here.
Right. Zannon's not from here, but he lives here. And Zach Bogosian's not from here, but he lives here. So I think Matt Carl might live here. So
Minnesota's absolutely the state of hockey. It's not even debatable.
It absolutely is, but it'd be nice to get some National Hockey League success too.
Yeah. And I went down to the collegiate level. where a lot of Minnesotans play for Motzko or Larson with St. Cloud State or Mankato, Bemidji, Duluth, so on and so on.
Right. St. Thomas, we have more Division I hockey programs than anybody in the country as well.
But see, unlike Indiana, it's a sham that it's still considered the state of basketball. If you look at Indiana-born players in the NBA, which I did, and if you look at the college, that would be the apex, your college basketball teams. And they haven't won an NCAA tournament in nearly 40 years, and only one of the schools has. So I think there's a little shammery to that. But like here, okay, Duluth, the last 24 years, Duluth has won 3 titles. Right. Lucia won 2. Well, you got 5 in a quarter century. But Colorado is getting sneaky here with state of hockey cred. They're up to 51 or 52 high school hockey programs. DU wins the Frozen Four every year. Yeah. At least 2 in a row. And DU's won like 6 of the Frozen Fours over the last 24 or 25 years.
Right.
So now that's DU, Colorado College, they're not winning it. So that's just one school. But you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah. And obviously and the Avs are obviously very good and are going to continue to be good. So, what makes this state special is just the fact that, people are feels like they're born with hockey skates on and sticks and everything.
I agree.
Especially, up in the range and Duluth and those areas as well. I mean, if you had Jess Myers here from the Pioneer Press, you'd definitely be talking about War Road. Yeah. It's the vein of his, existence that Detroit's stolen hockey town from War Road.
Right.
So there you go. I mean, to me, the college programs also is what makes this place so special because they're always good. Whether you're talking Duluth or Mankato, St. Cloud, now St. Thomas coming, obviously the Gophers and Bemidji.
Yeah. If you look around the NHL, you see a bevy of players from the state of Minnesota. If somebody were to tell me the state of football is Texas, or the state of football would be Florida, specifically South Florida, but then you get up to Jacksonville and they got a Raines High School where a lot of players are. You look around the NFL and rosters are littered with players from Florida and Texas.
Right.
Not necessarily. So that's starting in high school, winning at the college level, putting people into the pros. That's why I'm like with Indiana. I mean,
we don't see it anymore.
God bless tradition, man. But I mean, there are hardly any players from Indiana in the NBA.
Florida, especially for football. I mean, that's been going on since I was a young sports writer. I mean, I covered Anquan Bolden in high school, Fred Taylor, Travis Henry, those type of players, Johnny Rutledge. There were so many guys. Danny Cannell.
Yeah.
So many guys that I covered down there that wound up making it huge. I was at the game where Travis Henry broke Emmett Smith's state rushing record down there.
Wow. Emmett Smith was a Florida kid?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And so, I actually spent a day with Travis in Frostproof, Florida once for a big behind-the-scenes story before he had 20 kids.
That's Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah.
Did you mix him up?
No, it was Travis Henry.
Okay.
It was just a fun time down there, but it was all sports down there. I covered Vince Carter in high school, and I covered A-Rod in high school, and it just. There was something special about covering South Florida high school sports, which helped shape me as a sports writer.
Right, and actually, we're going to get into that next segment with something I found at the Athletic. To the local team for a second at Russo Hockey in Studio. Is Buffalo any good? And I ask because last in the Atlantic with a measly 60 points, but recently beat Las Vegas and Edmonton.
Yeah. Last night, they sure didn't help the Wild, especially when they put the puck in their own net on a delayed penalty late in the game.
Jeez.
Last night was not a good night for the Wild at all, by the way. So Brester scores with 2 seconds left in regulation to get them a point against St. Louis, who's also chasing the Wild. Ooh. Calgary won. So all 4 teams right behind the Wild got points last night.
Right.
So it's going to be the Wild have to continue to keep their foot on the gas here, and that starts with the game against Buffalo. They're not very good, but yes, if you take, I don't think the Wild are in position to take anybody for granted, but if you were to take them for granted tomorrow, you could absolutely, flounder away 2 points. And, with the week that they've got coming, you can't afford that. Those are 2 points you got to get tomorrow afternoon, and then you work on the road home back to back at Dallas, Vegas. Doesn't get harder than that. And then Washington comes to town with everybody with the traveling circus that is following Ovi right now as he chases down Wayne Gretzky's record. And then you got home and home against New Jersey.
Right.
So this week can change here. Really could define whether or not the Wild one soar into the playoffs, but certainly get that 7th seed or wind up in that that hole. I mean, Colorado is starting to lose some games. They blew out Ottawa yesterday. But the Wild are also, continuing to chase Colorado here to maybe get that 3rd spot and play Dallas in the first round. If I were the Wild, I'd want to stick in that 7 hole and play Vegas in the first round. Yep. You're starting on the road either way. But I think Dallas right now is probably the top contender coming out of the West. And we all know that the Wild usually don't play them very well, whether it's postseason or regular season.
Well, break up the Blues, man. I mean, we have 20 goals in the last 4 games. Okay, one of them was 7 and 5 against this team, but they're scoring 4 every game, and they've won 4 in a row. What's gotten into the Blues?
Well, first of all, they have a cupcake schedule. I mean, this is check the schedule the rest of the way. They've got the most games against non-playoff teams here. So they've got. Last night they obviously had the big win in overtime against. Was it yesterday in overtime?
The Blues?
St. Louis?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so now you got versus Chicago, versus Nashville.
They beat
versus
Vancouver
Montreal,
in overtime yesterday.
Spot, at Nashville, at Colorado, which is tough, but then versus Detroit, versus Pittsburgh.
Versus is the word. You should know that. You're a writer.
I mean, they got Seattle, Utah still on the schedule.
Why did you say verse? That surprises me because all the new agers, all the kids, like Max's age and everything.
I'm abbreviating
Is that okay to abbreviate it like in talk like that?
Probably not.
Okay, because if it is, then I've made a big
Nobody
mistake
ever says
with
I'm
this
super
microphone.
Smart. But they've got a cupcake schedule. So they're the team I'd be most worried about. Calgary and Vancouver, they're playing really well right now because they are jockeying for that final playoff spot as well. And then you got Utah, who just isn't going anywhere, who also has a bunch of games against Nashville coming up. So those are usually 2 gimmies. So those, it's tough right now, but St. Louis is just playing really, really well. Obviously, the Binnington goal that he gave up to Besser with 2 seconds left yesterday, I don't think he loved. But they wound up getting the extra point in overtime. And so, Thomas is playing great. Kyrou is absolutely on fire right now. They just look like they feel it right now. And it seems like every single year, Doug Armstrong at some point in the second half meets with the media and goes absolutely ballistic and says, I'm trading everybody. And then all of a sudden they start picking it up and wind up making the playoffs or something of the like. So, they are playing really quality hockey right now.
Now the Wild host Buffalo tomorrow, 1:00 XL Energy Center. More
Russo Radio.
with that guy when 9 to noon continues on KFAN.
Join Meat Sauce and Miller Lite at the Lookout in Maple Grove next Thursday from 5 to 7. Stop by to register for a chance to win a spot in the Vikings Foundation Golf Tournament. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword golf.
Heinze seems happy with Ryan Hartman these days. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's playing great hockey right now, scoring goals, winning huge face-offs on a team that obviously doesn't have Eriksson Ek right now. And he's kept it between the whistles. And that's what you want with Ryan is to just play a cleaner brand of hockey. Go to that edge, but don't go over it. And he's just playing hard. And this is when he's an effective player. And this is why Bill Guerin likes him so much. And so when he and he's also in tremendous shape right now because he had basically a month to skate and work out. So. He's playing great right now, and they need him.
Kaprizov or Eriksson Ek before season's end. Which way would you bet that?
I mean, that's the hope. I believe that we're going to, about a week from today, maybe a week from yesterday, see Kaprizov on the ice. Eriksson Ek's a little less. I'm a little less uncertain of what's going on with him. We'll see if maybe we get an update when we get down to the rink today. When Eriksson Ek first came out of the lineup, I kept on hearing 6 to 8 weeks, which brings you right to the end of the season. Kaprizov, around the trade deadline, I was hearing 3 weeks till he was on the ice. So as long as there's been no setbacks there, which I have no reason to believe, I think that we're going to see him on the ice next week. And just seeing him on the ice will give the Wild a big boost. But the question is, when you've basically played 3 games since before Christmas, how long do you need?
Right.
I don't think they're going to want to put them in dire straits. So I think that they're going to hope that they could keep their head above water. And then maybe, I think Kirill would love to get 2 or 3 games before the end of the regular season to go into the playoffs feeling good. If you remember, he missed 13 straight games after he hurt his hamstring in that Winnipeg game. The Wild kept him out of 2 of the last 4 games of that season, that 2022 season, right?
Yep.
Against when they played Dallas. And he scored the first goal that series on a deflection, and then
he got debored.
Yeah, and then he got debored. And when we talked to him after that playoff series, he just said that he was very rusty and he felt like he needed a runway and that the injury really hurt him. So I think that he would love to get just some games to just get feeling the puck again, because there's just no doubt, as incredible of a hockey player he is, there's going to be rust that he's going to have to combat. Do
you think David Jiricek will be good one day?
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope so. They gave up a first, second, third, fourth, and Damon Hunt for him. You could see when he's on the ice, from the red line up, he's got a lot of talent. From the red line back, he still has a lot of things that he's got to work on. He makes some perplexing decisions sometimes. And I think that's why he hasn't gotten in the lineup, whether Wild fans, really will agree with that or not. A lot of times this time of year when you're fighting for your playoff life, the coaches are going to go with the players that they trust. He's obviously a right shot guy. He's not playing over Faber or Spurgeon. So the question is, do you take Bogosian out? They just trust Bogosian in situations, right now. Again, you're not taking a 21-year-old right shot guy and putting him on the left side. So this stuff like, well, why don't they pull out John Merrill? It makes no sense to me. Plus, John's playing really quality hockey for a while now.
Right.
So they just trust him. So we'll see. I mean, Brodin could play tomorrow. We'll find out at practice today. If that's the case, I got to think they're going to send Jiricek back. One reason why Jiricek came up but never left is because the Wild, the way it works after the trade deadline is you get 4 non-emergency recalls. But to send a guy back to Iowa, you have to paper them on the trade deadline day. So what happened is, to make sure that the Wild had the flexibility to not keep Devin Shore, Brendan Gaunce, and David Jiricek here for the rest of the season, on March 7th at the trade deadline day, Matt Selzer, assistant GM, essentially assigned the guys to Iowa, then immediately recalled them to make sure that they had that ability to send them down. The problem is that takes up 3 of your 4 non-emergencies. So if they had just, because he wasn't playing, sent Jiricek down and brought up another defenseman, that would have been their 4th, and they'd have no flexibility the rest of the season to call up guys. So that's why they stuck him around here. So that what they tried to do is make it as beneficial as possible. Just have him around the team, which is good, and then have him working out with Matt Harder and skating with Andy Ness. So that was the big reason why they kept him here.
In our third and final segment with Russo Radio, we will marathon around the top of the hour. And we also are going to share with you how you can win big screen televisions. That's going to take place today, courtesy of KFAN, and that's next.
Some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.